And then he posted another story that said, also, it's worth mentioning this is extremely common when you employ a lot of people. Surprised it didn't happen sooner. I wouldn't say it's a good look to say, wow, I'm surprised I haven't been sued by one of my employees yet. Like, that doesn't make you look innocent.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a grown man that's worked a real job before. It happens. Companies with a lot of people sue justifiably and unjustifiably all the time. He could be like the nicest boss in the world, and I'm not saying he is. He's gonna get sued because some people are assholes, and especially in states with more robust like welfare services, which is a good thing overall. It does make it easier for you to take advantage of those services. This doesn't make him look guilty. This makes him look like he owns a business. And it makes you look a little bit like maybe you've never worked a real job before or something. All right. Calm down, guys. It's time to eat up some slop. All right. I needed like a couple of days off of posting about Ethan because I like the topic. It does well, but I like other stuff too. Okay. And at this point in the release, I think I definitely released the Caleb Hammer video. And by the time this goes up, I will have also released another video. So go watch that stuff too, guys. But anyway, I'm curious. Somebody on TikTok, weirdly enough, because I've been putting on my TikTok, I switched it around from just posting some video reactions to posting more clips of my main channel and my Papa Got Leftovers channel, which is additional short form content. Well, not just short form. I mean, it's like reaction stuff. Some of them happen to be a little shorter, maybe 3 to 5 to 10 minutes. Link in the description. So I've been plugging those channels on there, and so since I've been plugging this with Ethan, people have been very upset on TikTok about with some people with me thinking that I'm like bad because Ethan's a bad guy or something. That's their logic. Nothing I could do to change their mind unless they actually watch my videos. So it is what it is. I'm no stranger to people not liking me. But one person was like, oh, he was horrible to his housekeeper or whatever. They fired her because this, that, and the other thing. And I'm just like, all right. Like, I guess we'll check it out. And then some people in my Discord sent me this. So we have the other one too, where like Ethan responds to it. I don't even know if we really need to see his like formal response, to be honest with you. Like, it doesn't really seem like a huge thing I feel the need to look at. But we'll think about it. We'll think about seeing his official. But we hear he kind of responded at this point, so it doesn't really matter. But we'll see. Anyway, let's start it up. This is from Vagina Scro. Vangelina Skov. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Anyway, it's called Ethan and Hila getting sued. Full lawsuit. Let's just watch, dude. Let's check it out.
Ethan and Hila Klein are being sued.
Is it Hila or Hila? I should probably get to know that.
By their former housekeeper. And people are saying that this is proof that they mistreat their employees.
I feel like if they really mistreated their employees, we probably would have seen it by now. I mean, what do we see? We saw him out of frustration, him and Hila out of frustration, yell at AB. Because, you know, stuff like that happens at work sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, like, different. I used to work a real job. I've gotten into it with not my employees, but the people I've worked under. Sometimes you have bad moments. Sometimes your employees have bad moments. It's like, I don't care. If you're, like, a little shitty to them sometimes, everybody's a little shitty to each other sometimes. It's kind of how work works. When you work with somebody for a long period of time, sometimes, you know, sometimes it is what it is. I've had employees speak poorly to me. I've spoken poorly to employees, like, you know, especially when you're under a lot of stress. You know, so unless it's like this huge pattern of behavior, which you have to show that. I doubt he's really that bad.
What's crack? It's Vangelina Skov, and welcome to another episode of I Don't Know What a Super Bowl is.
Yeah, I'm a huge H3 simp now. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, Jewish supremacy. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I'm just a normal guy who used to work a real job for like a decade. So,
and at this point, I'm too scared to ask. Now, today, I want to talk to you about Ethan and Hila Klein and this whole lawsuit. I do have here the entire lawsuit. I have gone and I've highlighted the relevant bits so that we don't have to read.
Thank you. I hate reading. I don't like reading. It's cringe. You know?
500 billion trillion pages of lawsuit and legal jargon. So we're going to read through just the main points. And I also have here Ethan Klein's response. So to start off,
I'm excited, dude.
Off with, we have...
Look at this words on the screen. Who wants to read, bro?
The complaints that are being made by his and Hila's former housekeeper, which is violation of California Family Rights Act, disability discrimination in violation of FEHA, retaliation in violation of FEHA, failure to provide reasonable accommodation, failure to engage in interactive process, failure to take reasonable steps to prevent discrimination, retaliation in violation of California paid sick leave law, wrongful termination in violation of public policy, failure to provide a meal and rest period, failure to pay overtime, failure to pay failure to pay state local minimum wage. No, still did it wrong. Failure to pay state and local minimum wage. Failure to pay all wages due. Failure to furnish wage statements. Waiting time penalties. Failure to provide personnel records and unfair competition in violation of this code.
All right, that's a lot of stuff. Here's my thing. My mom used to work for White Castle, and there are times where obviously the wrong thing is done to people, and those workers deserve compensation. There are also times where people will get fired justifiably and they'll try to sue, especially in like a very robust state like New York or California, because they have a lot of legal protections, and some people take advantage of those legal protections. I'm not saying that's what she's doing. I'm just saying if I was fired justifiably in New York or California, I'd consider doing the same thing. You know what I mean? I would consider getting my bag. You know, I'm not even necessarily going to blame her for trying to get that bag, whether it's justified or not. Because sometimes they'll just be like, all right, fuck it, here, let's settle because it's not worth the whole lawsuit issue. There's a little bit of a difference with Ethan because he's like an actual like celebrity kind of person, where it's different from like a White Castle where they're going to worry more about their bottom dollar. But shit, you know what? I'm about that life. You know what I'm saying?
That was a lot. You know, I really thought after everything ended with the Illuminati stuff that the next time that I had to read legal documents wasn't going to be until there was a hearing about the dissociated Sergio Costa stuff.
Who?
But apparently not. Here we are. So allow me to have a sip of coffee before we go into details of what this all actually means. So this starts off just explaining the facts of the matter. If you've ever seen legal documents, it has to explain who everyone is, who the company is, because this is, as we saw, it is against Hila Klein, Ethan Klein, and Teddy Fresh Inc., as well as some unnamed defendants. But since they're unnamed, we're going to focus on Teddy Fresh, Ethan, and Hila.
Isn't she a house cleaner? I'm a little confused.
Is, as we saw, if you've ever seen legal documents, it has to explain who everyone is, who the company is, because this is, as we...
I thought this was a house cleaner. Was this more of like a house cleaning service for Teddy Fresh? If not, why the fuck would they... I'm a little confused.
We saw it is against Hila Klein, Ethan Klein, and Teddy Fresh Inc., as well as some unnamed defendants. But since they're unnamed, we're going to focus on Teddy Fresh, Ethan, and Hila. So this just explains who they are. And there's some interesting stuff here, which is on information and belief, the Kleins and TFI, which is Teddy Fresh Inc., are and were engaged in one or more of the following: commingled funds and...
I mean, this is a real question. Did they work? Okay, this is, I mean, I don't know if these details are going to be in here. Does this housekeeper, my understanding is it's a housekeeper. Is the housekeeper working for another company? Because like I'm a little bit confused about the details of it. Do they hire their own housekeepers? Do they hire an outside company, which is like what I usually see, to clean? I'm hoping that these are fleshed out in this whole thing, because it's all this I feel like is relevant.
Other assets. Failed to segregate the funds of the separate entities. Engaged in the unauthorized diversion of corporate funds or assets to other than corporate uses. Treated assets of the corporate...
Jesus Christ, she's going after everything. These aren't even relevant to her job title. Why does she... I mean, like, you shouldn't steal money if it's happening, or, you know, misappropriate funds, but like, why do you care? What?
Operations as though they were individual assets, such as by paying personal debts with corporate funds or utilizing corporate funds to purchase assets for individual shareholders with no discernible benefit to the other shareholders. And it goes on like...
Wait, how many shareholders does Teddy Fresh have?
Like this. So basically saying that they used company funds for things that weren't company related, for their own benefit, to buy things, to pay their own personal debt.
Who cares? I'm not trying to be that guy. Like, you shouldn't do that. But like, why does she... This is a housekeeper suing? What does it have to... What does it matter if there's dealing funds? I'm not saying they should, but who gives a shit?
When company funds should be used for company stuff. Now, not 100% sure why this was added here, because it's not entirely relevant to the damages that are being alleged here. But
that's one of the problems, is it's like this person is going so hard in, you kind of question the integrity of the lawsuit. Then again, when it comes to like legal stuff, the way that it works is it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about who appears right or wrong. So when it comes to a court of law, you're going to make the most outrageous claims that you can justifiably make, and the other side will make the most outrageous claims on the opposite end to the degree that they can make it, and then you'll generally meet somewhere in the middle. Or maybe your outrageous claims or their outrageous claims are actually the truth. I guess you really don't know until you see the until you see how the lawsuit like ends off.
But I digress. We'll move on. And then we get a bit of background on the housekeeper herself. So plaintiff, who is the housekeeper, served as the full-time personal housekeeper to the Kleins, beginning on approximately December 16th, 2020. She was well
Oh shit, so she would have that insider knowledge, dude. Oh shit.
regarded during her time with them and fulfilled her job.
The cleaner's trying to clean them out. I wish I had that sometimes. I have horrible constipation.
Without issue, including cleaning the house, doing laundry, making meals, regularly performing errands, and grocery shopping. During her employment, plaintiff suffered from a hernia of which the Kleins were aware. On June 18th of
Shit, that's terrible. I had a guy I used to work with. He got a hernia. He just dealt with it. Didn't do anything about it for like a year. I don't know why. I have no idea why. So
2024, plaintiff learned that she would need surgery for her hernia. The very next day, on June 19th, at 10 a.m., she notified Mrs. Klein hernia. The very next day, on June 19th, at 10 a.m., she notified Mrs. Klein that she would be needing time off for hernia surgery on July 19th. Additionally, she
like a month ahead. All right.
told Mrs. Klein that her doctor expected her to need a month to recover, but that if she felt better sooner, she would return earlier.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds reasonable. I feel like a hernia takes a while to recover from.
On June 20th, 2024...
Does she ever say where the hernia is? Because my understanding of a hernia is like a hernia is just like a hole. Yeah, 2 to 6 weeks. That makes sense. It's just basically like a hole in the muscle or something where stuff goes through. You could have a hernia really anywhere in your body. So
plaintiff placed a call to Karen in TFI's Human Resources Department as she was having a problem with her time card login. She notified Karen by voicemail on that date that she would be going out for surgery on July 19th and that her doctor expected she would need a month to recuperate. Okay. Shortly thereafter, on June 20th, only 2 days after plaintiff notified her employer that she would need time off for the hernia surgery, Carrie Bish, which is an excellent name, EDP of Finance, called plaintiff to notify her that her employment was being terminated and that she did not need to return to the house. Days later, as Ms. Bish attempted to have plaintiff sign a release, which plaintiff declined to sign, plaintiff pressed for a reason for her termination. Ms. Bish responded that her employer was going in a different direction and referenced a problem that she had with the Klein's nanny. This reason was pretextual. Defendants terminated plaintiff because she requested time off for her hernia surgery. So
it's interesting because I think we're probably going to watch Ethan talk about it, but my understanding is that she was just very rude to the other housekeepers or whatever it is. There's so many fucking people in their goddamn house. I don't know if I could ever do that. Oh, the nanny. I think that the woman was the argument is that the woman was very rude to the nanny, and so they fired her. I wonder. I mean, if it's true that she got fired after announcing the surgery, even if it's justifiable, that's going to make that's going to make Ethan look bad, right? Like it could very well be true. Like she was a real piece of shit and she put in for this hernia thing and they're like, we're going to fire her because she was rude as fuck. Hopefully they have that documented. Either way, if it is true that she put in for this hernia surgery, that's just kind of rough timing for them, you know?
So I know I just read all that, but just to sum it down.
At that point, there's no good time to fire them because, you really can't fire them before. I mean, they did, but hard to fire them before because then it looks like retaliation. Hard to fire them after because then it looks like you're not being sensitive to them recovering.
She had a hernia.
They paid her during her recovery. When did she actually get fired then? Did she actually get fired before the hernia?
Was going to need to have surgery, would need time off for that, and would need a month off to recover. She notified them of this, and then 2 days later she was fired. And she was told the reason that she was fired was because of other issues, because of an issue that she had with the nanny.
Yeah, she's kind of a bitch from my understanding.
Even though it was
I'd be a bitch too if I had to clean people's houses all fucking day, if I'm going to be real with you.
2 days after she had requested this time off. It does look really sus. One thing I will never understand is how in America you can just fire somebody on the spot and it's like, okay, you're done working for me now.
Why? I feel like that makes sense to me. If somebody's being shit, you just fire them.
You have to give them notice. I don't know. Here you need to give a notice. It's so bizarre to me. And also the fact that
I don't know. I mean, it makes sense to give notice. If I'm expected to give you notice, then you should give me notice. At the same time, if you're somebody who's like really bad at your job or you're creating a hostile work environment, like why do I have to give you 2 weeks to before you leave? You know what I mean? Like as a person, like if you're really bad at your job, it's like, yeah, in 2 weeks you're gonna be gone. That just incentivizes you to do absolutely nothing or make things worse, no? But, you know, I feel like we need worker protections in America, but that's probably one of them I don't think that we necessarily need. But they gave her a severance. Oh, okay.
people can just quit as well on the spot. I was like, no. You have to give a notice. You can't just leave.
Well, you don't have to. I'd like to give a notice. I think it's professional, but you don't have to get a notice. You should probably give notice because if you give notice, you have a higher chance of either getting hired back or good recommendation, you know?
So then we get to the first.
Sounds like HR already had it in the works. There's no way HR process termination in 2 days. Actually, that's a good point. How long does it take? How long does it take for human resources to process a termination? Typically happens immediately following the termination meeting. Oh, it doesn't seem the time it takes for an HR to process termination typically happens within following. Oh, it doesn't really seem like it would take that long to process a termination. I don't think that that's necessarily a thing. Like, it probably is very quick to process. Like, oh, we're going to terminate this person, and boom, HR processes termination very quickly.
First cause of action, which is violation of the California Family Rights Act. Defendants and each of them violated the California Family Rights Act by refusing to provide plaintiff the medical leave to which she was entitled, and by retaliating against her for exercising her
I'm going to watch Ethan's response after, don't worry.
right to medical leave for her serious health condition. In engaging in the aforementioned conduct, defendants and each of them aided, abetted, incited, compelled, and or coerced unlawful employment practices.
Damn, this lawyer is crazy, dude, with all this jargon.
In violation
Probably Ethan's brother, if you know what I'm saying.
of the announced policy of this state against such practices. So basically saying she was entitled to leave, they denied her this, and they retaliated against her.
Okay.
As a direct and proximate result of the conduct of defendants and their agents, plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer general damages in the amount according to proof with interest thereon. Plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer economic and or special damages in an amount according to proof with interest thereon.
This is so loaded. Everything is fucking crazy.
Plaintiff has suffered emotional distress, including
from what I understand, you get a written warning the first time, and if you mess up again, they can fire you on the spot. I just to be clear, my understanding is you can get fired instantaneously without discretion. They can fire you for whatever reason, as long as that reason isn't like a protected class reason. Like they can't fire you because you're black, obviously, but they can fire you because they just don't need you anymore, or they feel that your work isn't adequate enough. The only issue is if they fire you based on a level of discrimination, and in this instance, the claim here is that they fired her based on a discrimination against her ability to basically take time off for her surgery. So it would be a medical discrimination, right? Because you can fire people for whatever reason, as long as it's not based on some kind of protected characteristic. And like I said, medical, it would be considered a protected characteristic if it's true.
but not limited to humiliation, embarrassment, and mental anguish in an amount according to proof.
Damn, embarrassment. What'd they do? Fucking beat her up?
Just to tell you now, for each of these cause of actions, it's going to say she has had damages, economic, emotional, all of that, because they need to prove that there's actually damage done in order for a lawsuit to be necessary at all. Because if stuff happened, but it didn't cause any issue to her,
she didn't get that bag,
then it's unnecessary. So it says that for every single one of these, but I'm not going to read that every time. So just know that it says that, but it's going to get really repetitive really fast if I keep reading that every single time. Then we have the second cause of action, which is disability discrimination in violation of FEHA. Pursuant to government code whatever, employees...
I love that energy. Whatever. What code? What does it matter if she tells me the fucking code? You think I'm going to look it up? I trust you. I trust that you're reading. I trust that I'm not.
May not terminate employees or discriminate against employees in the term, conditions, or privileges of employment because of an actual or perceived disability. Plaintiff suffered and or was regarded as suffering from a disability, a hernia, and required and requested reasonable accommodation for it, namely a medical leave for surgery and recovery.
Sure.
At all relevant times, defendants and each of them were...
If they paid severance, that'll probably be tough. Yeah, I don't know exactly how severance works, but I imagine... dude, I don't know anything about law. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so yeah. So what I think I'm correct then. You can refuse to sign a severance package. So if she did sign the severance package, that's not going to look good for her in court, even if she's in the right. Like if she took a severance, even if she's in the right and she was fired unjustifiably, she's kind of SOL, because I imagine if she got a severance, like you guys are saying, which we're going to watch the Ethan thing. If she got a severance, like she kind of loses that claim. It's like she agreed to be like, okay, I'm out. So yeah, she's kind of fucking herself over. That being said, if they did discriminate against her, like the severance doesn't necessarily matter. I would imagine, and I could be wrong, that a severance would be like a non-disclosure agreement almost. Like you can sign an NDA, but if I start grabbing your ball sack, the NDA is broken, right? You can't do illegal shit. So even if they signed the severance, I would imagine that they could still potentially have a claim that they would have their medical rights taken away or whatever. But it doesn't look good. It still helps, obviously, Ethan's argument that he's like, well, we gave them a severance and they agreed to the severance. There was no problem. ABCDXYZ. So, but we're okay.
We're aware of plaintiffs.
This is not disability discrimination. If you can no longer perform the job for medical reasons, you can be fired. This is different from that's different. And I don't think I'm pretty sure you're incorrect. This would be considered a disability, a short-term disability discrimination. I don't know exactly how the idea of like being able to do a job versus not being able to do a job works. Like if you're in a particular job field and you get a permanent disability that no longer allows you to perform a job, you have to make, my understanding is you have to make adequate accommodations to the best of your ability. And if you can't accommodate them anymore, then then they would move on to getting like permanent disability or some kind of like government assistance. But for short-term disability, I almost guarantee you that that's protected. Like there's no way, especially in California, that you could fire somebody just on the basis that they can't perform their job because they have a hernia, which is a temporary disability, which can be reasonably accommodated. Especially if there are robust laws in the state, which I undoubtedly are in California. But you can't get fired because you can't fucking do something for a month. Right? Like, yeah, it's different. I think it's different if an NBA player is paralyzed. That might be a little bit different. Okay.
Disability and or regarded plaintiff as suffering from disability. Defendants discriminated against plaintiff because of her disability, including by terminating her because of her disability.
Well, I mean, my thing is that if they hired her in the first place knowing she was a woman, clearly they were okay with her disabilities.
Moving on to the third action, this is retaliation. So It's saying that plaintiff requested defendants to reasonably accommodate her disability, including by giving her time off to have surgery and recover. In retaliation for her request of...
I wonder if you have to give them paid time off, or if California has their own payment system that like workers have to pay into, or the company has to pay into, or like how that works exactly. Like if that makes sense.
Reasonable accommodation, defendants and each of them subjected her to adverse employment actions, including, but not limited to, terminating her employment. So you'll see here that it's saying that this was discrimination, and it's also retaliation because they retaliated by allegedly terminating her because she asked for time off. Fourth cause of action is failure to reasonably accommodate disability. Pursuant to whatever government code this is, it is unlawful for an employer to fail to make reasonable accommodation for the known physical or mental disability and or perceived physical or mental disability of an employee. Plaintiff suffered and or was regarded as suffering from a disability and required and requested reasonable accommodation for her disability. Defendants and each of them were fully aware and had knowledge of plaintiff's disability and or perceived disability. And this is, as was mentioned earlier, that she had notified them.
What is a perceived disability? Like, what exactly, how do you legally define a perceived disability? Because that insinuates to me that the person doesn't have a real disability. They just perceive that they have one. A perceived disability is when somebody is thought to have a disability, even if they do not. Oh, okay.
As soon as she'd know, and also of plaintiff's request for reasonable accommodation, including time off. Notwithstanding this knowledge, defendants failed to reasonably accommodate plaintiff, including but not limited to failing to accommodate her.
What the hell is this? Sorry, I'm a little bit silly right now. Is this a Gooner doll? Oh, this looks like a normal, like some kind of fairy sitting on a mushroom. I thought it was one of those weird anime Gooner dolls. Sorry.
Her need for time off to have surgery and recover, choosing to terminate her rather than reasonably accommodate her.
Yeah.
Then we have the fifth cause of action, which is failure to engage in interactive process. I'm not going to read that one because it just kind of... It's
because fucking cringe and boring. Yeah, I hear you, sis.
Bit of waffle, okay? You can read it. It's on screen.
I can actually. I'm fucking dumb as hell. It's also very blurry.
Cause of action is failure to take all reasonable steps to prevent or correct discrimination. So this government code says that employers have an obligation to take all reasonable steps necessary to prevent discrimination from occurring by their conduct, including but not limited to training their managers adequately in employee rights to reasonable accommodation and medical leave, and failing to engage in an interactive process with plaintiff to determine a reasonable accommodation, and terminating plaintiff because of her disability and request for accommodation and protective medical leave. Defendants and each of them and or their agents employers, wow, no, it does say employees, failed to take all reasonable steps to prevent discrimination from occurring. So basically they didn't do enough to stop the discrimination.
Yeah. You know, I love the slop, but like, isn't it weird that we're talking about this? That this is so, like, right now, this is such a big deal, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is a lawsuit, and we'll never know the truth. I mean, like, all things aside, of all criticisms of Ethan, from what I've seen consistently, I think he means well, so I don't think that he's a piece of shit. He has a ton of employees. He never really gets any complaints. In fact, he has a employee work culture, at least on his stream, where people can argue with him on stream, and, like, he allows that. You know, when I was a manager... Well, I mean, we had our back and forths, like I had said, and there's ups and downs. There's times where you act poorly and the other person acts poorly, but generally we had a good working environment. But like at the end of the day, I feel like what really is the outcome? Hey, here's a lawsuit. We're going to hear her talk about it, give her opinion. Ethan's going to talk about it. We're going to see his opinion. And then there's really nothing else we could do except for decide if we like Ethan enough to be like, yeah, he's probably not that bad of a guy, so it's probably not a big deal. Or if you really dislike him, you could use this as another argument as to why you hate him. There's really... like, this is like the sloppiest slop we've ever slopped before in our life. And honestly, though, I'm obese as fuck, and I'm going to keep eating it.
This is a lot of things that are just kind of saying the same thing, but presumably she went with this complaint to a lawyer, and the lawyer said, well, here's all the different angles that we can take with it, and technically it looks like they violated these different codes based on what you're telling me.
I mean, they might have said it technically looks like this, or they might have said we might be... Here's what I think. Here's what I think. Maybe there's validation to this, but what I think is the lawyer was like, oh, we could probably sue and we're going to get a settle because it's a fucking company and they're not going to want to waste time with their own lawyers. Like I said before, Ethan's not McDonald's. Ethan, like, the reputation of nobody really cares if McDonald's is kind of shitty to their employees, you know, because it's McDonald's. It's just a business. Ethan's a person. So even if Ethan spends more money fighting the lawsuit than actually just settling for the lawsuit, he's still going to do it because he has a public image to uphold. So I feel like if he is innocent, he's not going to just settle like another company would. He's going to push as hard as possible. And I think that's something she probably should have considered.
So we're just going to go with all the angles because why not? Something will stick, maybe. Seventh cause of action is retaliation in violation of California paid sick leave law. By their actions, as set forth above, defendants violated Section 233 and 246.5 by retaliating against plaintiff for her attempted use of paid sick leave, including but not limited to by immediately terminating her when she requested a medical leave to have surgery and recover. Is it true that Americans have like a limited number of paid sick days? Is that true? Because if that's true, that's really weird.
Yeah. Yes, I'm pretty sure you guys do too. I wonder how you classify it. So like in America, we have sick time and then we don't have sick time. But then there's also, depending on the state, disability leave. Where is she from? You know, I don't care.
I heard this somewhere the other day and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what do you... Yeah, I think I heard it on a TikTok. So I don't believe that everything TikTok says is true. So you can confirm or deny in the comments. But if it is...
I do. That's why I hate Ethan. I'm just kidding.
It's true that you're only allowed to be sick for a certain number of days. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like you can't...
I mean, like most people aren't sick for that long. So like if you have like a couple sick days, it's okay. My wife actually has decent benefits. She has a month of vacation. Yeah, my wife has a lot of time off. I think my wife has a month of vacation and a month of sick time, basically, plus holidays. Her pay kind of sucks, but... And her health insurance is fucking terrible, but what are you going to do?
Help if you're sick. It's so stupid. Anyway, eighth cause of...
Some companies have unlimited PTO that still needs to be approved by managers. Yeah, but those companies with unlimited PTO are the same companies that like require you to get certain amounts of work done. Like my wife almost never uses all of her full time, and she ends up like losing it because she has so much work that she has to do. So it's like, oh, it's really nice you have time off, but it's like, do you really have time off? You know?
Action is wrongful termination in violation of public policy. Now, I did highlight all of this, but it's kind of just reiterating what was said earlier, that she was wrongfully terminated, that they fired her because
Sure.
of her needing time off, and that was not okay. Basically, that's what it says. So I'm not going to read all that again. That's boiling it down to what it says, but it's on screen for you if you want to read that. The ninth case of action is a bit different, actually. This one is failure to pay meal and rest period compensation. So the code
Failure to what?
and this one that is failure to pay meal and rest period compensation.
They have to do paid meals? What is that?
So the code and wage order provide that an employee is entitled to an uninterrupted off-duty meal period of not less than 30 minutes for every 5 hours work.
Sure.
It also requires the employer to pay the employee 1 hour at the employee's regular rate of compensation for each day that the employer does not provide at least one required meal period.
Okay.
The code
Yeah, so you have an uninterrupted break, and if they interrupt the break, then you're entitled to restart your break. That's how it works, at least by me as well. Sure.
Wage order provide that an employee
And then I guess if they don't do that, they have to pay you an hour for that.
is entitled to an uninterrupted off-duty rest period for not less than 10 minutes for every 4 hours worked, or a fraction thereof. The code and the wage order also require the employer to pay the employee 1 hour, blah, blah, blah. We read that above. Plaintiff's initial schedule was 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. schedule, which was later changed to a 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. schedule 5 days per week.
That makes sense to give that a half hour, because the lunch would be unpaid, right? So 8 to 4 is 8 hours, and then 3:30 is it's 8.5 hours. I have to be right about that. I fucking hate math. This way she can clock out, whatever, in order to take her break. Sure, that makes sense. Me personally, I don't know, man. I'd rather have 8 hours of work and just take a little bit of time off here and there, to eat while I work. I don't you know what I mean? Fuck it. Depends on the job, I guess. If you have a desk job and you have a certain amount of work per day, I'd rather just work through lunch and get out early. But so somebody says she's Irish. Our friend Evan, with a very unique name, very unique spelling, and that they do have limited sick days, so he doesn't really know what she's talking about. I don't know. Maybe she's never worked a job before. I have no idea.
During that time, plaintiff never took either an uninterrupted meal break nor an uninterrupted rest break because she had to remain at the house and because there was not an opportunity to do so, given back-to-back tasks and requests by the family.
Well, maybe that's why she got a hernia.
In addition, Teddy Fresh Inc. nonetheless docked plaintiff 30 minutes of pay each day that she worked, despite that plaintiff never had an uninterrupted 30-minute meal break, and despite that she never clocked, wow, imagine I could read, that she never clocked out for one. Therefore, plaintiff is owed 2.5 hours of pay on each day, or 12.5 hours each week that she worked for defendants. Oh.
All right, so I'm guessing that she had a specific time where she was told to take a break and that she didn't clock in or out herself. So they clocked her in or out. So they're like, oh, your break's from 12 to 12:30 or something like that. Okay.
Oh my God. I swear to God, I can read, lads. So basically, this is saying that she didn't get a lunch break, that she was requested to do so many back-to-back tasks that she never got a chance to have a work break.
Wow, how dirty's that house? Shit, she must be a bad cleaner if this if it's always that dirty, damn.
A lunch break, but they docked her pay for a half an hour each day. Question one is, are you not supposed to be paid for your lunch break?
No. I feel like... Has she worked a real job before? Not even trying to
Thanks to Balesa.
Shut the fuck up. Sorry. I'm not trying to be rude. Has she ever worked a job before? Like a formal job? Or is Ireland just a magical place full of fucking leprechauns and beer? I don't understand. Okay.
Regardless, she didn't work one anyway, so why is she being docked? And even if she wasn't being docked, she is required to
Hold on a second.
She didn't work one anyway, so why is she being docked? Are you not supposed to be paid for your lunch break? Regardless, she didn't work one anyway, so why is she being docked? And even if she wasn't
Why are you assuming that she's telling the truth? We're here for the slop. Don't... you're passing judgment she's definitely right or wrong here. It's very bizarre behavior.
Docked, she is required to have a lunch break. You need to have a lunch break. That's the law. Plaintiff worked for defendants for approximately 3.5 years.
I just find it funny because she's oh, do you American? I can't do Irish. Oh, do you Americans? Oh, do you guys don't get paid for your lunch break? It's you don't either, bro. I fucking I could Google. Why do you keep telling us this? Why do you keep saying things that are verifiably false about how great your country is? It's just so weird. This is the second jab she's made at America. Oh, you don't get paid? Oh, you don't get paid? Oh, you don't get paid during your lunch? Well, you don't either. Oh, you guys have limited sick time in America? That's crazy. You do too. You guys are... It's weird. It's weird. It's weird that you're just so... It's just weird. Why do you keep doing that? Have you worked a job before? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Okay.
182 weeks, and she is therefore owed approximately 2,275 hours.
Wow.
Plaintiff's hourly rate at the time of her termination was $30 an hour. She is therefore owed approximately...
That's a good-ass wage, girl. That's more than I made fucking cleaning buses for people during COVID. What the hell?
$68,250 in reimbursed time and meal rest break penalties.
Wow.
Then the 10th cause of action...
Buy a lot of Happy Meals, dude. You know what I've been doing? I've been going to Sam's Club to buy McDonald's gift cards for like 1% off. Because you know what? Fuck it. But dude, White Castle gift cards at Sam's Club? I think they're like $35 for a $50 gift card. Isn't that insane? So, it's fucking awesome.
Action is failure to pay overtime compensation. So it says that the code and wage order provide that a workday consists of 8 hours and a work week consists of 40 hours. And an employer must compensate an employee who works overtime hours with either 1.5 times or double the employee's regular rate of compensation. Defendants employed plaintiff for shifts.
If she got paid a flat fee for the day, she is not entitled to any of this. Maybe. I don't know exactly how everything would work. Like, I don't know. I truly don't know. If their argument or if their agreement was like, we're going to give you, let's just say $240 every single day to do this amount of work at your own discretion, then like, yeah, she wouldn't have an argument. But like, just because she's a salaried worker doesn't mean that she wouldn't necessarily be entitled to overtime or lunch benefits. That's supposed to be included. Like technically, people that are on salary can get overtime. They typically don't ask for it, but they technically can. But
in excess of 8 hours per day, but failed to properly pay her at the overtime rate for all overtime. So this, they're saying, is not chill. Pay her for her overtime. The 11th cause of action is failure to pay state and local minimum wage. And what this is saying is that because she wasn't paid for her overtime, she was not getting the required minimum wage. The 12th cause of action is failure to pay earned wages, which is getting to the same thing, basically. And the 13th...
Yeah, well, I don't know if she's W-2 or 1099 or whatever she is. I don't know.
Cause of action is for failure to furnish timely and accurate wage and hour statements. This one basically says that she was asked for timely and accurate wage and hour statements, so how much she worked and how much she was being paid, and that they failed to do this, and it did not actually reflect the hours that the plaintiff, the housekeeper, had worked. The 14th...
For how? I'm a little confused with that one, because like, for how long? Although, no, they're going to make that argument, of course. She's going to make that argument. Because her argument is that she never got to go through her lunch break. So there's no way. Like, it's one of those things where that might be true or might not be true. But if either way, they're going to claim that they didn't give like an accurate breakdown of her hours because she technically, in her argument, did not get a lunch break, right? So,
13th cause of action is waiting time penalties. Labor Code sections 201 and 203 require employers to pay employees all of their earned wages immediately upon discharge and or within 72 hours of resignation. And it's just saying that this did not happen. 15th cause of action is failure to...
But didn't she get a severance package? Wouldn't that have happened?
Provide personnel file. So it's saying in August of 2024, this former housekeeper asked for her personnel file and wage records. Though defendants produced some records, the production appeared incomplete. And over the course of the next several months and repeated requests for time records and signed documents, defendants have to date failed to timely and properly produce plaintiff's complete records, including time records. Plaintiff is entitled to the records requested, but she hasn't gotten them yet, it seems. And here is what she's asking for. So, compensatory damages, economic and non-economic damages, general and or non-economic damages, damages for emotional distress, for all compensation and wages that's owed to her, for all penalties and liquidated damages provided for in the California Labor Code, for all wages in lieu of rest and meal periods that were denied, as well as interest, that defendants be ordered...
What's the interest?
...to restore to the public all funds acquired by means of act or practice declared by this court to be unlawful or fraudulent, or to constitute unfair competition, punitive damages, so punishment, basically, injunctive and declaratory relief, reasonable attorney's fees, for cost of suit, for pre-judgment interest, and for such other and further relief that the...
It's interesting because so far, and maybe it's in the lawsuit, it just wasn't read because it doesn't necessarily matter, but it does to me. Like, what was the breakdown of her job responsibility? Because if she's making all these claims, like, what exactly did she do? Where she was working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and she was doing so much work that she couldn't take a break. I would just wonder what is her responsibility as a cleaner.
Court may deem just improper. What is happening to me today? This is the curse of Ethan Klein. I can't speak English. And she's also demanding a trial by jury.
Wait, what's the curse of Ethan?
Other and further relief to the court suit. Injunctive and declaratory relief, reasonable attorney's fees, for cost of suit, for pre-judgment interest, and for such other and further relief that the court may deem just improper. What is happening to me today? This is the curse of Ethan Klein. I can't speak English.
I don't understand that joke. If I did, it'd probably be funny, maybe. Okay.
And she's also demanding a trial by jury, which
I would demand a trial by combat because I feel like I could beat the fuck out of Ethan, honestly. I mean, I think I could take that fight. I heard that he's like 5'7" or something, or 5'8". I'm pretty sure I could take that fucking fight pretty easily. Right? He's like 5'7", maybe 5'6". I think a professional did his height. And like they found out that he's actually like 5'6" or 7. It might have been 7 or 8. He's definitely not like 5'9" or above. That's all I know. So
I don't know how that will go down. So
no, he's 5'8", bro. Sorry, tops. 5'8" tops, dude. Sorry, dude.
So, if this is all true, this is really, really bad.
Sure, if it is true, it would be bad. Yeah, they deserve their money.
Saying that they fired her because she asked for time off because she needed surgery.
Okay.
For a hernia. Like, you can't really avoid that if you need the time off, can you?
I guess not.
And, oh, God, they also, like, didn't give her time off for a lunch break. They didn't pay her for overtime. So it's looking really bad. Now,
not really. It's looking like a lawsuit. It just looks like something. I don't even know. It just like look. Oh, this is your reaction. Oh, that's yeah. That kind of sucks if it's true. Let's see how it goes. Maybe it's true. Like I said, dude. I mean, if it's not true, I still would sue if I were. I guess fuck it, right? Because here's the thing: Ethan could potentially lose if they let's say, because you're entitled to get a printout of your hours worked. So let's say they were bad at record keeping. She could sue and get money and chase that bag, even if she's in the wrong. And you know what? It's wrong, but also catch that bag. I don't give a fuck. It's not me. You know, so I don't give a fuck, man.
I have to say, this is all obviously alleged. It has not been proven in court.
Sure.
And it may come out in favor of Ethan and Gila. It may be that they haven't done anything wrong at all. But if it is true, it's really, really bad. And I do think it's suspicious that she worked for them for 3 years.
True. And then now she's just only complaining now? That is super suspicious.
And they're saying she had other issues that they were going to fire her for. But she worked with them for 3.5 years. And it was 2 days after she requested time off to recover from surgery.
That was a really dramatic zoom in that you did there.
That they fired her.
True.
It's just very suspicious. Now, I have Ethan's response. And yes, I did get it from the H3 Snark because that is where it was posted. And I missed his story when it was live, okay? But somebody posted.
All right. Well, I'm going to watch his story in a sec after we finish this. But I'm pretty sure her video came out before he did his thing because I remember seeing this yesterday. And I was like, I don't feel like doing this right now, you know? We were having fun yesterday. We did like a silly little Asmongold history video and talked about men, and I took my clothes off on stream. So that was fun.
Posted this on Twitter, and he responded saying, "Our former housekeeper was fired for being horrifically rude to our boy's nanny, constantly calling her fat and asking when she gained all the weight."
Was she fat though? Did she have a fat ass? Respectively. I would say that respectfully. Damn. Too many different versions of that word. What is this, America? I say that respectfully. I say that with respect. She got a fatty? You know what I mean? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, dude.
I gave her so many warnings hoping she would just stop, but she didn't.
I have like a weird... I had like a weird thought I was going to ask. It's a weird question, but like I've worked with like a lot of like Haitian and Hispanic women before, and my mom has, and like they're always very friendly, but sometimes they would make comments about my weight. You know what I mean? So I'm just wondering, like maybe that's a cultural thing. Maybe there's a cultural thing. Maybe she was just making casual conversation respectfully, and it got misinterpreted. All right. And don't worry, guys. Haitian women love me. I like Haitian women too. Okay. Don't call them black though, because they'll beat the fuck out of you. I got hit once when I was younger because they don't like that. It's weird. It's colorism, bro. I'm not even gonna pretend to understand. It's not my ball. It's not my balls. So
She was part of our family and we treated her
she called him Humpty Dumpty. That's crazy.
like it. I tried everything to salvage the relationship.
That's not nice though. That's not nice. That's a lot. This is one thing to be like, oh, you eating a lot, you know?
But her conduct was inexcusable. This is all documented with HR, which hopefully makes this an easy matter to settle. It feels extremely violating to know that someone that close to our family can turn around and do something like this. The part about her asking for time off for her hernia surgery.
As a chubby Hispanic girl, I've been called gordita my whole life. I thought it was torta. I thought the phrase was like a torta pounder. Torta pounder with cheese. That's what a white guy's giving it out. All right, cut that out.
Surgery and then being fired is 100% fabricated.
Okay.
Anyone that knows us or works for us knows that that is not something we would ever do. I care deeply for all of our employees and do everything in my power to do right by them. She tried to shake us down for a huge amount of money, which I immediately declined, knowing our innocence and refusing to ever concede to people like her. Now, if he's telling the truth, fine, because obviously, even if I don't like Ethan Klein and I don't like Hila Klein, there are bad actors in the world. He's saying that her asking for
I guess, but also bad. There's also bad housekeepers too.
her time off for the hernia surgery is fabricated. Now, I don't know if there's some kind of paper trail that she has to prove that
We'll
she
find out.
requested this time off, because she's saying it was on the phone, and I assume phone calls aren't recorded. So for this to be a proper lawsuit, I would assume she has some kind of paper trail, but if not, she's not going to be able to prove this, especially if Ethan is
True.
telling the truth that HR have all the documents in a paper
Was that? Oh, she said HR. Okay.
trail to say that the housekeeper was being rude to the boy's nanny and that they were trying to correct this behavior. And then he posted another story that said, also, it's worth mentioning this is extremely common when you employ a lot of people. Surprised it didn't happen sooner.
How many people does he have employed? Because like they have like a whole infrastructure. I mean, they have the H3 podcast, but then they also have Teddy Fresh, and then they have a bunch of nannies in their own house and shit. I think, you know, I don't know. They have people. There's some people. So what the fuck is how many fucking people do they have employed? Plus, according to people on H3 Snark, I'm probably employed by Ethan too. So paid actor, dude. The problem is I'm a horrible actor. The camera does add 57 pounds though. Okay, so keep that in mind.
I wouldn't say it's a good look to say,
All right, I'm only 400 pounds, guys. Relax.
hey, wow, I'm surprised I haven't been sued by one of my employees yet. Like, that doesn't make you look innocent.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a grown man that's worked a real job before. It happens. At companies with a lot of people sue justifiably and unjustifiably all the time. Like, yeah, there's always going to be people. He could be like the nicest boss in the world, and I'm not saying he is, but he could be the nicest guy in the world. He's going to get sued because some people are assholes, and especially in states with more robust like welfare services, which is a good thing overall. It does make it easier for you to take advantage of those services. So this doesn't make him look guilty. This makes him look like he owns a business. And it makes you look a little bit like maybe you've never worked a real job before or something. Like, I don't know. I've seen this all the time. And I've had asshole bosses be like pieces of shit unjustifiably. And then I've also worked with people that are completely dog shit worthless that take advantage of the system. That'll act like complete assholes and do like all the wrong things and like still complain enough to get some kind of compensation. So maybe there's like a level of disconnect here. I don't know, but okay.
That kind of makes you look bad. That kind of makes you look like you're doing
Not really.
stuff wrong.
Not really.
I get the point that you're trying to make, but like,
No, you don't, because then you wouldn't be saying what you're saying.
come on, dude. So
Okay. Interesting.
until more information comes out about this, we can't be sure what's going on. Obviously, everything is alleged. I
Sure.
do find it sus that if there is proof that she requested time off for the hernia surgery, that they fired her 2 days later.
Yeah, you would find that sus if that was true. That's an interesting statement to make.
And Ethan, being the capitalist that he is,
Okay.
it kind of wouldn't surprise me that he would be like, oh, well, she's going to be a liability. I'm going to have to pay her for like a month while she's not working and hire somebody else, even though I could simply clean my own house. But okay, sure. That's neither here nor there. Employ people. That's fine with me. Spread the wealth, whatever.
It's fucking crazy. These people are weird, man. These people are just so strange. These people are weird, dude. I don't think I've watched. I don't know if I've watched like the edgy community talk about Ethan Klein. You know, like the Turkey Toms and the Mr. Rhetorics, Nicholas Diorio, aka Mika's Mr. Mika's Rhetoric. I've watched them talk about him before. But these and those arguments, you know, they're just different from these arguments. These arguments are just like, their arguments are like, Ethan is cringe now. This was in the past more. Ethan is like cringe and now he's not base anymore, right? And these arguments are like, he's a capitalist, right? He's a capitalist. Just put this on screen. He's a capitalist. And it's like, well, okay, you know, like that's cool. He seems... Didn't he, like, during COVID pay, like, people? Wasn't he, like, a really generous guy or something? Before he even got money from the government? I don't really remember. I feel like he's probably, like, I don't know. I feel like he's not, from everything I've seen about the way he treats his workers, he seems to be a decent guy. Like, he has a good, where he creates a good work environment, at least with the people on his podcast, where they have the ability to like advocate for themselves and to speak in disagreement and all that other stuff. You know, now maybe the work culture is different inside of Teddy Fresh. I don't know. Hila seems like she would be a very demanding boy. Hila feels a little bit similar to my wife. She's probably in a positive way a little bitchy, not negatively. My wife, God bless her to death. I love that woman, but you know, so maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I'm saying. This is real, guys. This is not AI, okay? This is really Nicholas Diorio. And by the way, everybody thinks that I'm like memeing. These two would make a good couple. I unironically believe that. Admittedly, her makeup's looking a little rough here, but Nick's also a little younger here. If he was in his, they would be a good couple. Okay? She's not, like, I want to dispel the rumors that everybody calls her unattractive. I think she's a nice, cute young girl. She's like 24, I think. Nick's like 29. That's a good, you know, he's a little immature. This would be perfect. The two of them would be really good for each other. And she's a school teacher. You know, Nick, that would be, I think... That would be a great fit for Nicholas Diorio. That would be a great fit for Nicholas Diorio. I think that they should give it an unironic shot. Okay? All right? So.
But it wouldn't surprise me, but that is not saying that it's true. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me, okay? Don't sue me. You're already involved with your own lawsuits, all right? Now, there is also this clip that people have been bringing up from the podcast where they're talking about somebody with a chronic illness. I believe in this situation they're talking about Jake Doolittle. That's a whole drama I still know nothing about.
Oh, then why'd you bring it up? Sounds like she brought that up as a way to say that Ethan consistently talks negatively on people with chronic illnesses. But like Jake Doolittle is a young man struggling, because I've gotten so many messages behind the scenes about him. So that's crazy. He's a young man struggling. He's a struggling young man who is kind of an asshole and seems to bully people because he has a charity. So he tries to bully people into giving him money for the charity. And then he also, that's the most recent controversy with Jake Doolittle. Previously, that was interacting with Ethan, because Ethan like was having health anxiety and he was looking at ChatGPT and he's like, I think I have these things. And I don't think it turned out that he had all those things, but Jake tried to make it seem like he was as bad faith as possible. Very strange. And then before that, he went after Charlie D'Amelio because she used his art in a book after they made an agreement and they adhered to it. And then he was complaining because he wanted more money. So, you know, I think Jake just needs a friend. I think that he grew up probably a little disconnected from friends because he had Lyme disease, right? He grew up with Lyme disease and that made it a little tough to make friends and stuff. And, you know, I feel bad for him, but I feel like maybe he needs a deep breath and a friend. So that's all I'm saying. So anyway. Yeah, there's a lot of relation to the Dr. Doolittle. A lot of, yeah, for sure.
no, I need to look into that one. But just here's what he says.
Dude, imagine if you hired this guy because he was applying.
You'd never be able to get rid of him. He is an HR nightmare.
No, he wanted a job. That's why he.
You would never.
Oh my God, what the hell? Is this an Antifa member? Is this an Antifa member? Hold on. Is this guy a dirty... What do they call it again? What is it called? Antifa member? Is this a dirty Antifa member over here? I just bought this hat a while ago. It says make pee pee poo poo again. So I know it's backwards. I just wanted an excuse to wear it. It's kind of comfortable. It's not a MAGA hat. Just to be clear. I don't like that guy. I'm not going to get into it. Okay. I'm not getting into the specifics. Okay. All right. But we're all MAGA'd up. We're all pee-pee poo-pooed up now, baby. We got a lot of shit now. The hat doesn't look as good backwards. It's just not the right color. Or the white color. Or the white color. Don't take me out of context or I'll cry.
Never be able to get rid
I've
of
worked
him.
with people like this, and the thing is, once you work with someone like this, you start realizing, oh, this is why there's such like strict HR interviewing process,
Oh, yeah.
like 20 layers.
Because you'll never shake that guy.
Not only that, like when you realize that, like not only are they not helpful, but they're like detrimental to everybody in the environment, everything around them.
Sure.
When you try to fire them, they will 1,000% file a discrimination lawsuit.
It's California, so
lie,
it's
make
tough.
anything up.
Yeah,
You like the Willy hat? Yeah, sure.
to beat those. I think Jake could be in the other seat someday. Possibly.
No shot. There's no
Co-host?
chance.
Co-host
He blows
potential?
penny sucks.
0% chance.
I hear
it'll
he
work
worked
out.
on SNL. That's
Coveted
a
job.
big resume line.
Yeah.
You know?
New writer.
Wrote some.
So what are we saying here? What's the insinuation here? That he's a mean guy because there are some people that are toxic to work with and Ethan acknowledges that? Looks like a Grinch here. What the fuck?
the greatest bits.
Dude, I wouldn't.
No, I don't think this necessarily proves anything. And
Well, it would never prove anything other than he doesn't like Jake Doolittle. But what are you trying to insinuate?
it is a little bit out of context, but it does show his attitude. I swear to God, Ethan Klein has cursed me. I can't speak. It does show his attitude towards stuff like this, like saying, well, the other guy said hate your nightmare, but he's agreeing and saying, you know, somebody like this, they're absolutely going to file a discrimination thing if you try and fire them. So it is a bit of a weird attitude to take.
Listen, man, if we're in a weird time on the internet where it's like very strangely multiple communities of different people against each other, and I think people misinterpret it as it's like the H3 versus like the Hassan community, but I think that we kind of need to learn that that's what it really is it's the never worked a job before versus the normal people, because I worked a job for 10 years, and when I listen to somebody talk about how there are some people who are just nightmares to work with and they'll complain the entire time until they get to siphon money out of the company, who isn't always perfect, by the way. That's a real thing. I've had to work with the worst people in the world who would run away and they would do drugs and then they would come back and then I would be like, this guy's terrible. And you'd have to work with them for like 6 months until they finally figured out what to do with them. And what they usually have to do with them is put them somewhere else where they have an easier job. This is just a regular person thing. We can acknowledge that like some companies are not good to their employees, but then some employees are dicks to their other co-employees. It's like so normal. What do you mean? You're making so many assertions here. Like this woman might have been wronged. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not like throating Ethan, but you're sitting here insinuating the absolute worst. It's like you're using plausible deniability language to go, hey, this is just an allegation, and then you're just morally charging this with Ethan's a bad guy. It's just, what a weird thing to do. It's so strange. What the fuck?
Again, it doesn't prove anything. But
It doesn't prove anything, but...
I wouldn't be surprised, okay? I wouldn't be surprised. Not saying him and Hila are wrong,
You are heavily insinuating that.
but I
Okay.
wouldn't be surprised. What do you think, though?
It's not much of you.
Do you think they're guilty as sin? Because I think you can say whatever you want in the comments, to be honest. Do you think they're innocent? Do you think they're
She's so worried about, like, she's like pretend worried about getting sued. I don't understand.
guilty? Don't take what I just said as legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. Obviously, I can't even pronounce half the words that I was just reading.
Well, I mean, you can't even... Like, you've said multiple times, you've criticized our working labor laws, and you guys have the same labor laws. And so you have no real point of authority on any of these topics.
I wanted to say something to you guys as well, which is that this is the third day in a row I'm uploading. Like, in a row. This has not happened since COVID. So please subscribe. Thanks.
What?
I wanted to say something to you guys as well, which is that this is the third day in a row I'm uploading. Like, in a row. This has not happened since COVID. So please subscribe. Thanks. and like this video because it makes me feel good, and also just do it because I asked. Thank you so much. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, share, follow me on social media. I'm Evangelina Scott everywhere. Check out the Patreon. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Okay. That was something. Okay, let's watch the Ethan video next. All right, let's listen to the Hispanic guy talk about this now. Okay. All right.
I'll grab it one sec.
Yeah, it should be on the subreddit. So, my former housekeeper, Elizabeth, her name's in the complaint, filed a lawsuit for, I think, the charge is wrongful termination. Her allegation is that she needed time off to get her hernia treated.
Back in my day, we just sewed it up ourselves. We sewed it up ourselves, and we went back to work the next minute.
And then we've just fired her, which is insane. It's insanely totally fabricated.
Insane.
I was talking to Ela.
I'd hope so. It's your wife.
She went to, like, briefly before this hernia surgery she was due for, she literally went back home to, like, Venezuela. Took 3 weeks.
Why'd they immediately hit the button? What's going on? Why did they decide to skip this?
Yeah. Very good golf.
It's just, I don't know why it's being provoked so much lately.
That was the right choice.
What did he say? A bunch of crazy stuff? What?
Yeah, so I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. She
You probably
I wonder if he's having a GERD outbreak and he's just coughing a lot or something.
want to restate.
Yeah. So, like, briefly before this hernia thing happened, she took 2 or 3 weeks off to go back home to Venezuela, I think, to see her family get dental work. We paid her for the entire time she was gone. Like, we don't. We have never punished anybody for taking time off. We encourage people to take time off to do the things that they need to do. We pay people for their time off. It's so gross that this woman was a part of our family.
So as part of it that maybe she was abusing time off a little too much, and they're like, okay, what's going on here?
And would just turn around.
If you remember, you could see behind the button. That's clever.
And do something like just straight up a lie about this hernia thing. It's so stupid. But and there's even more absurdness to it. Like, she filed a lawsuit. We have an arbitration clause, so she can't even sue us. Also, like, a California law, like, apparently you can't sue individuals for.
They can't even sue. That's interesting. I mean, there's got to be something. A lawyer took up the case, right? Like, I mean, I can't imagine that. I'm not saying that he did anything. I'm just saying, like, they can't even sue. Is that real?
Claims brought against the company. So, like, as a matter of law, the majority of this is going to be dismissed outright. And we have everything, all the complaints with HR. Like, everything is super well documented.
That's smart.
We should explain the complaints.
Yeah, so basically, the main complaint, she's been doing this to a lot of people. And before, I was like, oh, she's like, she said kind of similar shit to me, but I don't care about it. I go, she's like my mom. She's just, making these inappropriate comments. Like,
I hear that, man. I hear that. It depends on the person you're making the comment to. If I had a guess that she's somebody who speaks her mind a little too much, and again, that's probably a cultural thing. And, like, I never really cared when people talked like that, but some people are more sensitive. And I think the best way to look at that is like when you have guys and girls working together. Because the straight dudes will be the gayest ever when they're working, and they'll say some wild shit that is technically sexual harassment, but we, like, never cared. We were having fun. Like, we're being stupid. We were friends, blah, blah, blah. If a woman starts working there, usually they're a little more sensitive to that, and it's understandably so. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it switches up the culture. And so, like, the reality is that when you're in a worker environment, you have to be sensitive to people, even if you feel they're a little too sensitive. Like, that's their prerogative. You have the right to be comfortable at work. And so if me and my buddies are fucking, working together and we're playing gay chicken and grabbing each other's balls, and somebody sees that and they're uncomfortable with that, they have every right to report that, which would technically be sexual harassment, even if we're not doing anything to that person. Right? And like, it's like, that's totally fair. You have to be sensitive to different people with different workplace cultures. Like, that's, you know what I mean? But you gotta as an adult, you have to kind of come to that realization, like, oh, not everybody might be comfortable with my brand of, maybe we'll call it honesty to be nice and charitable. You know what I'm saying?
But she was making it to other people. For example, our nanny, she was calling fat and constantly asking her if she gained weight. And she would come to us and say, this is really upsetting me. It's really inappropriate. And of course, we completely agreed. So we would take her, sit her down with HR and give her like official warnings, being like, please just stop commenting on people's like private lives, their weight, whatever, but just please stop. And she kept doing it. I mean,
I mean, if they have that documentation, which I imagine they would, then she's cooked. And it's sad too, because I wonder, because I don't know this person, but like I wonder if she like really didn't understand. I don't know. How old's the nanny? Because I know she's from Venezuela. She probably is like, she's probably maybe like first generation, different cultures. You know what I mean? I understand that. I've worked with different people from fuck. That's not Venezuela, but I forget where it was exactly. It's always the same fucking place too. I can't remember. Where is it? Because they work so Salvadorian people. I've worked with a lot of Salvadorian people. And like they're chill, they work hard, but you know, sometimes you say some wild shit. You know, like I had one guy who was older, and you know, I'll just say he wasn't a big fan of gay people. You know, he was a nice guy, he worked hard, he didn't hate people, but you know, he made some inappropriate comments. You know, if I was a gay guy working there and I heard him say that, I might get offended and report him. I'm not a gay guy. So I didn't get like offended and like it's not right, he shouldn't be doing it, but like, okay, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But it's like, you gotta tone it down, brother. Your sister. You know, so she may not have even meant poorly, but yeah, you kind of have to, you know, the way that we work is you try to make people feel comfortable where you fucking, you know, where you're working, man.
First day, you met her, right?
Yeah, I met her a couple of times, and much like you, it's very like typical grandma jokes about.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
So she very nicely of you guys offered to stock the fridge with goods and like sodies and whatnot, and
say sodies. What the fuck, sodies?
She asked me what I wanted. When I was asked, she commented, I was like, are you sure you want that many sodas for snacks? So obviously...
That's so funny. Dude, it makes so much sense. The types of things that she probably said were probably like almost like out of concern, but just inappropriate, you know? Almost like when your grandma's like, you've been gaining weight, and it's like, grandma, you raised me, you know what I mean? You stupid bitch. It's almost like one of those.
Personally, it doesn't bother me, but to be exposed to that every day,
yeah, I mean, different people again are sensitive to different things. It's their right to be.
Yeah, she's always constantly judging people's health, and it's kind of funny to me because she's a chunky little lady.
Yeah, that's what caught me so off guard.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
She's built like Humpty Dumpty, and I only say that because, like, just to tell you,
there is an IR.
Jesus. It's so funny because it sounds like Ethan liked this lady and she was really nice, and but she had like a problem with commenting on people's weight because she has like a different cultural thing or whatever. And now that she's Ethan's sitting here calling her fucking Humpty Dumpty. It's just he's so petty. All bets are off. It's honestly so funny.
Irony there, yeah. Yeah,
and she had a lot of energy. Don't get me wrong.
I think
she was
saying like kind of mean grandma energy is the right description. Like I think
you know it's funny. You know it's funny too because we read the lawsuit, or we had someone read it for us. It's totally possible that this woman worked too hard because she's got that fucking like what is that South American culture, south of the border culture. These people work too hard. It's totally possible. Like, hey, here's your job description. Take it easy when you want. And she's just like, nah, I'm gonna fucking work all day because I'm bored. They don't even like iPhones, so they're just like bored, so they fucking work. So it's totally possible that she worked too much because she wanted to work. I've seen people work because they want to work. It's actually insane. It's fucking crazy. Okay, I have a good work ethic when I have to do work, but I'm not trying to work. But I wonder if she like actually did do a bunch of work because she wanted to. And now she's like, yeah, let's just fucking sue him because I did all this work. I wonder if that's part of it. I really wonder how delicate this workplace culture is between them. I really wonder how delicate it is. It's totally possible she was like a really good worker. She just overcrossed bounds, and then it's like one of those things where she's like, well, yeah, I was kind of an asshole, but like I also did really good work. So like you firing me is a slap in the face.
Like
people know that archetype,
and that's why we were willing to be like, listen. I always liked her. Okay, personally.
Yeah, this might be ammunition for the attorney because they could be like, oh, look at this. Although I feel like he probably talked to his lawyer first.
And that's why I wanted to be like, listen, just stop, especially the thing with our housekeeper. Please just be professional with her, okay? And she kept doing it, and she kept doing shit like this where our housekeeper, or our nanny, let's say, made food or had lunch with the kids. And then she'd put their dishes in the sink. And then our Elizabeth, the one who's suing me, she would explicitly not wash the dishes because she was like, "Oh, that's your job." Like our kids' dishes, and I'm
gonna be real with you, bro. I kind of agree with her on that one. I kind of agree with her on that one. I'm just, as a working class guy, former working class guy, I agree with her on that one. She's a housekeeper, you know, but the nanny, she did those dishes. Maybe that, I don't know. I could be wrong. I would be like, that's the nanny. It makes sense to me. I don't even know if I'm right. It makes sense to me. The nanny fed them the food. Okay, so the nanny should clean up the plates, should rinse the plates, put them in the dishwasher or whatever. That's just me. Listen, you could disagree with me. I understand her logic. It makes sense to me, even if I'm incorrect. It makes sense to me. Okay, and listen. Oh, it's her job. Everybody's disagreeing with me. You know what? Work is a social construct. Okay, and she was negotiating the bounds of the position. Bro, listen. I don't know what to tell you, dude. All right, maybe, you know what? Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I get her logic. It makes sense. It makes sense, honestly.
Our nanny has her hands full. Like, she is busy as fuck.
That's probably true.
Like these.
That's true. Raising the kids probably harder than taking care of a house. True.
Little pathetic snide things that she was constantly doing. I literally had no choice. I had zero choice but to fire her. In fact, I mean, if I didn't, it would have been an issue. It would have been another issue because, like, at a certain point, it's like, you know, she's creating a hostile work environment.
Right. Yeah.
That's fair.
And so,
That's
you know,
fair.
so we fired her. We did it through HR. Everything up and up. We gave her a very generous severance package because I cared about her and I didn't want to leave her high and dry. And
I wonder if they're allowed to go into like what the severance package entailed.
Yeah. So she ended up.
Who's nannying the kids if they clean the dish? How long does it take you to clean a dish? What is that, like a 2-minute task? I mean, they have young kids, so it makes sense that the nanny would have to have their eyes on them like all times. But like, how long does it take to clean a dish? Right? Like, is it really that long to clean a dish? According to me, it takes an hour to clean dishes. That's why my wife thinks it's a hard job. I'm just kidding.
She's been threatening us, I guess, for a while now. She contacted some employment attorneys, and they've been like, we need they were trying to shake us down for a lot of money. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was like in the 6 figures.
Jesus Christ.
Jeez. And so I was like, fuck that. You know what I mean? And you guys know me, like, one, we're completely in the right and we have everything documented. So I have nothing to fear by this going to trial or whatever in front of a judge. The second thing, as you guys know about me, is that I never fucking let people. I would rather pay the attorneys double than what she's asking for, if that's what it takes. Like,
listen, I said it before, and honestly, it's the right move. Even if it's petty, it's the right move for him to pay more because this is part of his. What is the word? Whatever. The way he looks. You know the word I'm looking for. There's an appearance aspect to this. He's not just some corporation where it's just some unnamed figure. He's Ethan Klein. Like, he has to sue back. So it's a good thing that he's petty like this.
I will never, ever, ever concede to this types of shit. I don't care, and I'm just not an option. Like, my attorney was like, "Do you think we should just settle?" Like, I said, "No. There's no quarter left for her. She gets nothing. Good day."
Yeah, that makes sense. The attorney would just say, like, "Let's settle. It'll be cheap." It probably would be cheaper if they just settled, but you know, listen, you got to bring out that pettiness sometimes. Sometimes you got to be a little petty, man. Sometimes you got to be a little bit petty. I'm all here for it, baby.
Hey, sir. Good day, ma'am. In the words of Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
You know. So it's just a totally bogus, pathetic lawsuit, and
I mean, I guess at least it gives Ethan something to talk about, huh?
It's gonna be super easy.
I mean, if you have it all logged.
What a dirty capitalist for even saying that, dude. That's so crazy, bro.
And documented
it's all logged.
The interventions and like having to talk to her about it multiple times or whatever. It sounds like you're in good shape.
It's ridiculous. It's all accounted for. So, and then the weird thing is that, so she filed this lawsuit. My attorneys hadn't even seen it yet. Yet somehow, within 24 hours of her filing this obscure lawsuit, it's on Snark and YouTube Drama.
That's insane. Hey, listen, man. You know what? More power to the Snark channel, because that's impressive. That's impressive. Listen, we as YouTubers or whatever, or like Snarkers, I don't know. It's our responsibility to do the jobs that we've decided to do, which is covering shit for basically the unemployed community. And so hey, love them or hate them, they are pretty good. That's pretty good. That's impressive shit. They're doing their job. Okay, they're doing the job that they've decided to make. I know. Are they getting paid? I have no fucking idea. But they're doing their job, dude. Gotta respect them. You gotta respect the dedication of the H3 snark community. I respect it, dude. It's fucking crazy. So.
Even my attorney was like, "How did they get that? Like, were they just sitting there refresh?" Well, my attorney's like, she knows, and the attorneys
maybe the snarkers convinced her to do this.
Know that this lawsuit is going to get absolutely eviscerated by a judge because it's just total nonsense. It needs to go to arbitration, and there's all these other illegal things like charging us individually when she's charging like our company that employed her. And so
I still don't understand how she can sue Teddy Fresh. Like that doesn't really make any sense to me. Like was she employed by Teddy Fresh? I don't understand that because like isn't this a personal housekeeper?
It's clearly been.
You don't respect it, psycho, bro. I respect psychotic people. Okay, they do be given the best head. All right, it's crazy, brother. It's crazy. They also stab you to death in your sleep. So, you know, that's a whole other thing.
Made public as a tactic to put pressure on us. Like she's actually going that route. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was sent from someone on her side to Snark or YouTube Drama or so on. I'd like to know.
She got the fucking Snark. She got like a Snark Redditor lawyer. That'd be insane. That'd be wild as shit.
How they acquired it.
Wow. I suppose it's possible. I'll offer.
I was confused by that too, but I think that they're employed by Teddy Fresh. Well, that's strange though. I mean, like I wouldn't. I imagine they have their legalities tied in the right way, but like that's strange, isn't it? Like I guess that's where that claim comes, where they were misappropriating funds or something. But I don't understand that.
An alternative, which is that somebody on that subreddit is maybe like dedicated enough hater that they've
refreshing
set up
the docket.
No, but like set up alerts or something.
Maybe, or they just have. Well, you can have computers do crazy stuff now. You know, I don't even know if you guys have seen it before, but somebody like random used a computer to do like this weird picture thing. It's crazy what like computers can do. So I doubt that there's somebody obsessed. Somebody probably did something weird. Like I came across this really weird video the other day, and I was like, I don't know if this is real. It's this really weird video, and I'm just like, how did like a computer did that? You know, like a computer did this. And I don't understand how they did it. But like somebody used a computer. So computers are crazy, man. You can really have them do anything. And what I mean by the computers, I'm pretty sure the computer, like a drone, managed to kind of like get into this into like maybe a fast food restaurant or maybe like an Applebee's and take this picture of these two kissing. It's wild. It's so crazy. God bless them. I hope they're happy. Can't wait to send them. What I like to do for people, for weddings, is I like to do like Loungefly. I send the girl a Loungefly. So like when these two get engaged, I'll send them a wedding Loungefly, which are very beautiful, by the way. Like there's a really nice Loungefly. It's a nice here. Like I'll show you. Like we have a few of them. So like, I think this one's discontinued. But like maybe I would send something like this to and look at this. The button has a veil, but it comes off. There's a replacement button. We don't have it right now. It's in a different room. I don't even know where it is. But it's a beautiful bag, and so you know, especially if they do decide to go to Disney on their honeymoon, this could be like a really nice. This could be like a really nice gift. So. It's a really nice bag. What is a Loungefly? It's like a bag. It's like a Disney, like kind of like a bag. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, me personally, I like my color block Teddy Fresh Loungefly. That's what I call it now. It's not that. But you know, the only issue is I got a gay cousin, and then I'd like to harass my family, like my younger cousin. I'm like, when are you guys gonna get married? And then I ask which one's the boy and which one's the girl, because I got to know which one to get the Loungefly bag for. Sometimes gay stuff's confusing, but I mean well. But maybe we'll get them both a wallet instead of a bag. You know what I mean? I just think about stuff. You know, I'm a little traditional. So, you know what I mean? My ignorance it's not, you know, it's okay. You know, so let's continue.
Like if your name
I don't
shows
think that's
up
a
in
thing for the
I
dockets.
think it is a thing.
Well, my attorneys were like, my attorneys hadn't even seen it. They didn't
Right?
even
No,
fucking
I
see
mean it's
that.
wild, but
Well, that
I mean, you have some
according to my
dedicated haters.
attorney,
What can I say?
She thinks it's orchestrated.
I mean, what you're saying does make sense if the tactic is to put public pressure on you to settle, which I guess makes sense.
I mean, I think the tactics is to fuck with Ethan. It's kind of funny.
That's absolutely. First of all, that's,
But they don't know you.
in my opinion, that's absolutely.
Listen, I like Ethan, but it is a little. It's fucked up. But you can see the humor in somebody getting the lawsuit before he even knows about it is insane work. It's kind of funny.
if that was their plan, because
Well, she only knows nice me.
right. Yeah.
She doesn't know psycho me.
Yeah, I don't know.
But her son is a fan,
Okay.
and he's worked with us. It's a shame. He's a really nice guy.
Elizabeth was always a sweetheart to me.
Me too, yeah.
But I'd heard about this issue in the past, so yeah.
There was another one. What was the anecdote? Somebody else told me about it. What was it? It was something about.
What was that quote again?
She was doing this to everyone. It's really nuts. But I'm getting an update. There was another anecdote I heard.
I will say the weight comments are very common in Latino families.
Listen,
I have no idea why. If you're too skinny, then
It's true. Although I will say, and this is just me, a little ignorant. I never heard of a Hispanic person named Elizabeth before. That's like an old white name, like an old English white name. You know, like, oh, Elizabeth, how fancy. You know, they usually have bad haircuts and eyebrows. That's my experience with Elizabeths. So I'm just like, Elizabeth. When they said Elizabeth, I'm like, you know, especially if she's a grandma, like Elizabeth. I don't know. But you know what? God bless.
they make a comment. If you're too big, they make a comment. And it's always, especially the big comments, always come from like a big person. It's
Yeah.
always weird.
Yeah. She,
Well,
That Middle Eastern
and that's
people
why
too.
I was like, that's why I was trying to give her some like grace. I was like, listen,
Yeah.
just stop doing that, please.
Right, but it's-
especially with our nanny who's expressed
Yeah.
concern. You can say whatever you want to me. I don't care, right? But please, you have to stop doing this. And she just wouldn't.
I wonder if Ethan's going to find a little bit of a problem. Probably not, because they have this documented in HR. But this could potentially be a little bit of an issue for Ethan. If he personally didn't mind her inappropriate comments about weight to him, I wonder if she could or would, as part of her lawsuit, say, well, he created the work environment where this type of banter was acceptable, so it seemed, you know, strange. The counter to that would obviously be if he actually did have it HR'd, where it's like, hey, you have to stop making these comments because people are getting uncomfortable. But I wonder if they could potentially, I mean, listen, if I was a lawyer, I would use that. I would use the fuck out of that. I would sit here and be like, well, he created a comfortable work environment by allowing her to say those things to him. And so she figured she didn't really think much of it, kind of a thing. But listen, I would use the argument. She was warned. Yeah, no, they probably wouldn't get away with that argument. But you know, guys, I'm currently an H3 detractor. Okay, I'm giving them arguments. I'm just kidding. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, I'm just thinking out loud a little here.
She couldn't help herself for some reason. She had to call her nanny fat. She could not control herself.
I have a
Maybe
family.
she was hitting on her, you know. In some of those cultures, they're not okay with gay people, so sometimes it manifests differently. Maybe she's like, "Oh, you're so fat, you're so healthy." That's what I had with this one guy I used to work with, called fat women healthy. He said healthy. You know what I mean? He was an older black guy from like the city. You know what I mean? So he's like, "Oh, she's healthy looking," you know. But that was a compliment. That was a compliment from him.
Member who's had weight issues, being too skinny, and some other family members said, just don't talk about it, don't bring it up, don't ever bring it up. And sure enough, as soon as that person walks in, right away, oh, you look so skinny, have you lost weight? And it's like a tick, they can't help it.
It reminds me of somebody else I know. No wonder you had empathy for her.
Yeah, my I've been doing all right with my weight loss and working out, and so my babci, said Polish grandmother, she's like, "Oh, you look so good." She said that to me. I was like, "Oh, thank you." I said, "I'll strip for you." And then I took off my jacket because I was a little warm in the house. But I think that she thought I was actually going to go through with like a whole striptease, because I guess people think that I'll do wild shit. Like they're convinced. Even my wife was convinced that I will do the most insane shit. I don't know why they think I would do some weird stuff. You'd have to ask her. So I don't know.
What'd I do? Me?
Sometimes you can't help yourself.
About weight?
No, just in general about not being able to not say things.
I mean, listen, if I was
probably true.
working at a job that I liked and wanted to stay at,
Yeah, no, it was a
They're
very
like,
reasonable ask.
Can you please stop calling someone fat? I'd be like, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I can manage
That's
that.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
She couldn't not.
And he has the argument. He has Tourette's, guys, so he can say, "Oh, oops."
That's crazy.
For me personally, it depends on who the fatty is.
Right. What if they're a mean fatty?
Exactly.
Oh yeah. So there's another another person that worked in proximity to her that she told, who asked for time off for pregnancy, which obviously, again, that's we're happy to do that and support them. That's, you know what I mean? We respect and understand people have lives outside work.
Yeah.
So she has 4 kids, and Elizabeth told her to stop having kids when it's too much.
I gotta be honest with you, man. I kind of like this fired nanny. She seems like I kind of like her. That's so funny, because honestly, stop having fucking kids. What are you doing? That's crazy.
So she asked for time off because she's pregnant, and Elizabeth was like, "You need to stop having kids. It's too much."
That's awesome. That's so funny.
So I mean, listen, it's like when being a aggressive grandma goes wrong. It's just, you know, but it's like the
when being too based goes wrong. Elizabeth's a menace, dude. Elizabeth is fucking underappreciated. She's like a poet of our generation. She's a philosopher, modern day philosopher here.
The way she's coming at us is crazy. She did this when Hila gave birth to Sonny.
What?
She told our nanny. She asked if she's pregnant.
Jeez.
She's obviously not pregnant, by the way. So she asked her if she's pregnant. Can you imagine that?
Oh, she asked the nanny if she's pregnant. Damn, what an asshole.
And then she also said, we have it written down, so Hila's telling me. She's saying, "You're young. You should have lost weight."
Jesus Christ.
Or "You're young. You should lose weight."
What the hell?
It's so funny because like my wife and I are overweight. If anybody talked to my wife like that, she would get into it with them. And so like the person that she's saying this to should not have to like advocate for themselves, because like you shouldn't be making it uncomfortable in the first place. Although she reported it, and that's a way to advocate. But I wonder if the woman was like, "You better shut the fuck up," if that would have solved the problem. Because I feel like I feel like older Hispanic first generation American grandmas, they respond really well to being told to like knock it the fuck off. You know what I mean? It's more of like the response needs to be like a personal person. It's like, you shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? It needs to be like a one-on-one, like I would say man to man, I guess. Like, hey, you need to shut the fuck up, you know? Or bust their balls back. Make them cry or something. If I was the nanny and the housekeeper was acting like this, I would just tell her, I said, if you don't stop it, I'm gonna fucking vote for Trump, okay? You better knock it the fuck off. I would have shut her up. I'm just kidding. But it might have worked.
So yeah, it's like comically absurd. And you have to at times fire people. You have to do it. It's just you have to.
Well, like you said, if you didn't, you would have a problem on the other end. You'd be getting sued by your nanny for allowing a hostile work environment.
And I'll be honest,
maybe.
we love our nanny.
Well, to be clear, it sounds like your nanny's kind of a pushover, so she probably wouldn't have sued you. She would have just dealt with it, you know.
She is
She's been with you guys forever now.
Since Teddy was born, and she's like so amazing. I'm very protective of her. She's been through other things, and like I'm always wanting.
What's the other baby's name? Teddy. What's the other baby's name? Fucking Fresh. What the hell's? Oh, maybe they named it. Maybe they named it Teddy and Walter. Is the other baby's name Walter? Because Teddy Fresh and Fit, Walter and Myron. Is the other baby's name Walter? Who does that? That's fucking weird, dude. Your other baby's name is Walter? I've decided that the baby's name is Walter, by the way. Your other baby's name is Walter? That's so fucking weird. You're a weird guy. My wife's name is Robin, and her brother's name is Christopher, so that's interesting. It's a Winnie the Pooh thing.
The best for her.
Teddy, Bruce, and Sonny? What the fuck? Might as well name the kid Junior Soprano at that point.
Her and to, you know, make sure. So like for me, you know, we take that very seriously when it's targeted towards her. And, you know, what can you say? It's just fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, you can sue anyone for anything, right? So obviously,
true.
It's
I think the limitation, like, it has to be at least $20 worth.
It's great fodder for all the people that hate me to be like, oh, Ethan fired his housekeeper for asking for time off. It's like, no, it's so fucking stupid. It's also pretty routine, I have to say, when you employ a lot of people, that this kind of stuff just happens from time to time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just unfortunately part of the game. There's a lot of companies that will just
unfortunately part of the game. Sorry, I know.
They'll just be like, it'll cost us.
I don't know if that's his Tourette's or if that's actually just his fucking GERD.
It's less to pay you than pay the attorneys. So we'll settle and just
That's
on.
I'm sure that's whatever lawyer jumped on this was assuming what happened because
I told you. I told you. But again, it's not going to happen. This is not a fucking McDonald's. This is like an actual, like, you know, a personality.
I think in 99 out of 100 cases that probably is what happens. But they found that one with you, boy.
I said she gets nothing. She gets nothing. I will spend way more money than she's asking for to make sure she gets nothing. Because that's how it is. Nobody
You're the pettiest man alive. It's a bad idea.
It's just it's just fuck that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Bet you have nothing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Ela wants to say.
Was that Bullbox?
For the record, and again, Icos, that our nanny is not fat. By the way, she is lovely.
I guess you should. We all know her, so we get the absurdity on its face.
I feel that, dude. If I ever got a nanny, I'd make sure she was skinny because I'm not attracted to skinny women. You know what I mean? And you must keep the temptations away from you. Okay, so just be some skinny blonde because I don't really like blondes either. You know what I mean? It's just like fucking. I like fat. Oh well, you know, thick. Attitude brunettes is pretty much my type. That's it.
But like this woman, I mean, nobody deserves that, but especially in this case, it's just like what? Like she's just being so mean for no reason.
So mean.
Dude, older people, they just don't know boundaries. Like I sent a photo of my new apartment to my grandma. She was like, "It looks a bit messy."
In their defense, their parents didn't raise them. Older people were just let outside of the house like a fucking dog and expected to return by sunset. And then if they did come back early, the parents would yell at them and tell them to get the fuck away from them as they were sitting there drinking, you know, mimosas or whiskey or something, you know?
I was like, okay, I just moved in.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to think
my thing is, though, is that, like, if your nanny's not even fat, then, like, how good could the food be that she's cooking for your kids? You know what I mean? Like, you're really going to torture your kids like that? Would she get them a fucking lemon water? Come on, dude. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you got to teach your kids what delicious food tastes like. Because if you don't, when they first taste it, when they go to a restaurant or something, they're going to be mind blown. They're going to be like, what the hell? And they're going to start eating, going, all right, they're eating too much. You're going to get fat. So you got to get your kid around the food and to teach them how to moderate that food. Although the turn side to that is if your kids don't eat good food, then they start going out, then they'll think something like Olive Garden is really good, which it is, by the way. And it's cheaper. So kind of a win. It's like, you know, you get your pros and cons.
Different time, I guess.
I was just trying to think what she looks like, and I mean this with peace and love, right? I just trying to so you guys understand. She's built like Mrs. Potato Head.
This guy's
Elizabeth. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty good. You guys know who.
He's
that's
so
pretty good.
stupid, dude.
And she's energetic. Like, she zips around and, you know what I mean? She gets shit done.
Again, until this whole saga, you know, I had a very good impression of her. She was always very sweet. She was there during like the frenemies days. So it was basically like,
wow.
Yeah,
it was like Elizabeth, Ethan, Trisha, and me in the basement.
Yeah.
This is the crew.
The crew, yeah.
You know, and there's, here, let me see I put out an Instagram statement immediately because I was like, all right, well, let me just at least explain what the fuck this.
Yeah.
True.
Mexican, thank you to Adelie. Thank you so
Mexican. Thank you to Adelie. What the fuck?
so much for that. Don't know. In Mexican culture, your family members find your insecurities and make it your nickname.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
so
true.
The common ones are gordo, which means fat.
Sure,
and
yeah.
then,
They used to call me gordito, which meant handsome, I'm pretty sure. And this is the Salvadorian guy. He used to call me Papa Noel. Oh, it means chubby. Well, that's still handsomes. Used to call me Papa Noel. I think that they would say that because I would never take a loss. So, yeah, the Hispanic guy, the Salvadorian guys, because there was multiple that I worked with, they used to call me Papa Noel, saying that I never take an L, always taking a dub. Epic W. Pogger, you know what I'm saying?
flaco, which means skinny. There's some other ones, but I feel like I can't say them just because maybe it could be translated wrong or offensive. I'm not sure what's offensive in
Do
Spanish.
they for real call people gordo?
Yes, that's an extremely common.
100%.
It's more common with boys. They don't really call girls that.
That's fucked up.
Not really. I just feel like it's normal. It's not really fucked up.
What's up, little What's up, gordo? What's up, fatso?
Essentially,
crazy.
I knew somebody who that was his nickname.
That's so funny.
Gordita?
Bro, I fucking miss Hispanic people. That's the worst part about working doing this job. But this job's great, but like I don't get to have fun with anybody, with any fucking Hispanic guys. Because I don't know, it's like the language barrier when you're working with Hispanic dudes. It makes it funnier. Because you all just say dumb shit to each other. Because you don't you don't really understand half the things you're saying to each other. You don't understand half the shit you're saying to each other. It's so much fun.
Work with Nate. The more I'm seeing the similarities between like Mexican culture and Arab culture. Arabs they just say butter, which means cow.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel like it's not even. It's like it's just a little bit more conservative cultures, because Hispanic people are like surprisingly generally more conservative. That's pretty much what it is. More conservative religious cultures. They're fun. Some people say they're really mean, but if you like it, it's fun.
That's pretty bad.
Just calling your kid cow.
Ouch. It's for real.
Rod him, couple.
Now, my response, by the way, was I'm pretty sure people were being downvoted and banned from YouTube Drama and Snark for posting my response.
Very good.
Great.
Nice.
This is the.
What do you expect? You know,
The thing is, like, I just don't care anymore. Like, people, they expect me to feel.
You honestly shouldn't. Like,
these people, Elizabeth and their lawyers thought I would feel bad and I'd be worried. These people are saying that I kill babies and that I do genocide. Like, this is a fucking walk in the park.
That's actually so funny and kind of true. Like, yeah, they've been calling him like the worst things in the entire world. So why would he care if they're like, oh, he's kind of shitty to his housekeeper? Oh, okay. Like, yeah, I guess we can see why he wouldn't really give a fuck. That's actually so funny and kind of true. Like, yeah, they've been calling him like the worst things in the entire world. So why would he care if they're like, oh, he's kind of shitty to his housekeeper? Oh, okay. Like, yeah, I guess we can see why he wouldn't really give a fuck.
Right.
Oh, you fired me for asking for time off? Big fucking whoop.
Let's put it in perspective.
Apparently, I killed like
not even the worst thing I've
children.
been accused of this week.
It's just annoying though. I'll admit when I saw this, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then it was posted by this guy, Jake Chinatown.
Well, they're a gabagool,
who
was just
famously a couple of days before retweeted somebody saying they wanted to smash my children into an oak tree repeatedly by their ankles. He retweeted that, and now he's
Jesus Christ, what the hell's wrong with these people?
Pretending to care about a lawsuit.
Yeah. That's Chinatown, Jake.
Hey, that's exactly.
All right, is this it?
Wow.
Come on.
Used to be a big Lakers fan, and
All right, well, it looks like we got Mrs. Potato Head again. I don't think there's much more.
you guys all the Deutschlanders.
I think that's it.